Good evening, beautiful, gorgeous, fantastic, worthy, amazing ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Real High Revelations this evening. I am your host, Gwen Jameer, and I am so excited to talk to you guys tonight. So I'm going to wait till a good number of y'all get into the group, and you know I got to check the tech because Facebook be tripping sometimes, and I need to make sure that you guys can actually see me and I can see you and I can see your comments. So, hey Audrey, good evening. Hey Danita. Welcome everybody. We are going to take a bit of a detour this evening. As you know, this is Real Hair Revelations, and we normally talk about hair related topics. But tonight, I feel like our community, our Naturalicious community, our claymates, we all need a hug. We all need to figure this whole thing out that's going on in the world. Thank you so much, Monica. I appreciate the love. Hey, Phyllis. I don't know about you guys, but I have been feeling so mentally drained, physically exhausted, emotionally traumatized from everything that's happening. What's interesting is that none of this stuff is new. We all know these things are occurring all the time. But I think collectively, which is why I believe that it's just permeated around the world right now. Hey, Rika. I think that everyone kind of felt that same feeling at the same time. What's interesting is that I didn't actually call any of my friends and say, hey, I need a day off. I need to just understand and kind of process what's happening. But they all had the same feeling at the exact same moment. You know what I mean? So do me a favor, you guys, and make sure that you share this live. Thank you, Camille. Hey, Erica. Thank you, Vakia. You're so sweet. Hey, hey, Sina. Yeah, and I just feel like everyone just got fed up at the exact same time, and that's why all these things are happening. So I'm not here to talk about how I feel about the riots, how I feel about the looting. I'm not here to talk about any of that stuff. What I am here to do is to try and give you some ways that you can cope with what's going on right now. So we're going to take a bit of a detour from the hair stuff, because although our hair is important, and we always are going to talk about that, and we'll talk about it a little bit tonight in terms of stress and things like that. But for the most part, we're going to talk about ways that we can cope, because there's a lot going on. And most of us here are people of color, right? And a lot of us are going to work having to be real professional when we are not here. We ready to give everybody all the smoke, you know? So I want to give you guys some ways, and feel free to sound off in the comments if you would like as well. Let me know how you're feeling. Thank you so much, Diana. Vakia, I am tired and drained too. So much. But there are going to be some really great, fun, amazing things we have coming up for you guys. On Sunday is my virtual birthday party. If you're coming to my party, do me a favor and drop me a balloon in the comments. Drop me a balloon in the comments if you're coming to my party on Sunday. I cannot wait. I am disappointed that I can't do anything in person, but I'm really excited because it gave me the opportunity to be able to have a party with all of you guys. So do me a favor, if you're coming to my party, drop me a balloon emoji in the comments. All right. So in the inner circle, so the inner circle of Naturalicious, those are the ladies who previously completed the Repair Your Hair Challenge. And they have decided that they want to stay on and be a part of something bigger that's beyond just hair. And they are in the inner circle. And so when it comes to the inner circle, a lot of times we talk about things that are not just hair related. So for example, we had Tim, who is a part of the Naturalicious Nation. He's a claymate also. He came in and actually gave us some tips for meditation and healing and processing, all that sort of stuff. And I asked him, you know, can you give me some things that I can actually share on RHR? Because I think everybody needs this kind of information. Now, Tim is not going to be able to do a meditation with us like he did with us in the inner circle, but he did give me some tips, and I'm going to share those tips with you. But before I get into that, let me introduce myself to those of you who don't know me. Hey, Veronica. Hey, Monica. I see all the balloons. Keep the balloons coming if you're coming to my party. I talked to DJ 007 today, by the way, and he is so ready to throw it down. It's going to be so fun. Make sure you bring your drink, even if it's just Sprite or even water. whatever you need, just bring it. And make sure you jazz yourself up a little bit. Get cute. You know what I mean? Like, we all need to feel good. We need to feel pretty and beautiful. We've been all holed up in the house for the past 2 or 3 months, and you feel so much better when you actually get dressed. So I'm not saying you got to put on your Sunday best, but at least put on some clothes that make you feel good, okay? This is a feel-good party that we're going to have on Sunday, okay? Thank you so much, Lillian. All right, so before we get into the information that Tim provided, thanks, Sarah. Yes, you are welcome, Blanche. Before we get into the information that Tim gave me that I'm going to share with you guys, hey, Jess, what's up? I do want to share with you some things that I've been talking about. So make sure you're sharing this live. Press the share button because this is super timely and super relevant, and everybody needs to be up in here. Hey, Erica. Okay. So Diana got about 5 balloons. She said she's going to be in there with her pearls on. She is coming, honey, to my party. I cannot wait to see you. And by the way, it is on Zoom, so turn your cameras on, okay? You can't have I can't have a party by myself. So make sure you have your cameras on so we can see each other and have a good time. All right, so share this live, by the way, if you have not already. I have been asked a lot by the media recently. This is just candid from my heart. I don't have a script for this or anything. A lot of media has been reaching out to me and Naturalicious in light of the recent events. Of course, because of COVID, but specifically recently because of the George Floyd murder and all the protests and things that are going on. And a question I've been getting is, how are you coping with this current climate? And the fact of the matter is that I'm not. And if you got my email that I sent out to you guys on Monday, I gave some tips for ways to cope with it and things that you could do. But if you did not get that email or did not read that email, I want to share a couple of things with you. First of all, I need you guys to be deliberate and intentional and consistent about supporting Black-owned businesses. The only way that we truly smash these racial disparities and this wealth gap is by creating generational wealth for Black people. If we don't do that, we will continue to be in the same boat that we are in right now. I understand the protests and I get it, and I don't know what I'm gonna do, but the only way is through economic empowerment. Okay? You can make a difference just by supporting, not even just supporting, literally patronizing, because there's a difference between supporting and patronizing. Support tends to happen momentarily. It's a flash in the pan. Patronizing is something that you're deliberate and intentional about. You can replace a lot of your normal household items with Black-owned brands. Black-owned brands are in every single category. Toilet paper. That's the Freedom Paper Company makes toilet paper. It's a Black-owned company. There is a Black-owned toothbrush company called Coral Oral. You can find them online. Buy them. Support them. Use their toothbrush. They work just as good as Reach and all them other toothbrushes, okay? Literally take some of these things that you already use and just replace them with Black-owned brands. It's not hard, right? Let's see what else you can laundry detergent. The True Laundry Detergent brand is a Black-owned laundry detergent brand. There's paper towels that are Black-owned. There's literally paper reams for your office or for your home that you put into your printer that are Black-owned. So you can replace a ton of things that are in your own home that are Black-owned. Now, if you want to get a little bit more fancy and go luxe, there are, if you're gifting or buying something for yourself, watches. The Benson Watch Company is a Black-owned luxe watch brand. I have one. Beautiful, exquisite watches made by a young African-American man, okay? Ovation Fragrances. If you're into fragrances and perfumes and things like that, Ovation Fragrances is a Black-owned fragrance company. There is another really great, I forgot the name, I lost my train of thought, but there's a lot of luxe items that you can find in the Black-owned space, right? Of course, there's hair care. It's very easy to find Black-owned hair care products, but think about think about the reason that we see so many Black-owned hair care products in stores now is because the community demanded it, and they had stopped purchasing products that weren't made by Black people that were targeted to Black people. So What does that tell you? If you want to, it's supply and demand. Stores will start to stock the things that you want. Now, right now, it might be kind of difficult, not even difficult. You may just have to go out of your way a little bit to find some of these brands. Some of these brands are not sold in stores. They're sold online only. But honestly, y'all, there's a lot of stuff that y'all buy that's online only, and y'all don't squawk about it. So it shouldn't be a problem to buy Black-owned brands online as well. Okay, I just bought a Black-owned rosé, actually, called La Fête Rosé. I bought that. Y'all, I bought it on, and I know everything's happening with COVID and shipping is crazy, but I bought it on like, I don't know, like Thursday? No, what's today? Today's Thursday. I bought it on like Monday. It was at my house today. So, you know, I know there's sometimes a stigma of Black-owned brands, which I don't think is fair, that a lot of people will say, well, I don't buy from Black-owned companies because, you know, they're all unprofessional. That's not true at all. There are unprofessional people in every race. McDonald's is always out of ice cream. Their machine is always broken, but don't nobody stop going to McDonald's. That's all I'm saying. Okay. I just went to McDonald's for my nephew the other day, and this manager was so rude to me. So rude. I vowed never to go to that McDonald's again, but I'm probably going to go to another McDonald's, some other McDonald's, if he wants fries again. I'm not going to stop going to McDonald's because of one person. I'm not going to stop patronizing a whole entire group. Listen, I don't eat McDonald's personally, but it's for my nephew. He's 17. You know, they got that metabolism where it's like they can eat whatever they want. So he wanted McDonald's, so I took him. So y'all don't judge me. I was just taking him. Okay. So anyway, there are crappy people in every industry. Every single industry. So please, you guys, if you know someone who is who bashes Black-owned brands because they had a bad experience with one or two of them, please let them know. You guys have to check these people. And if there's anyone here who is non-Black and you are an ally, I need you all to check people as well. Check your biases. Everyone has bias and everyone has prejudice, whether or not we admit it. And the only way that we come together is that we start to acknowledge it. And we also start to talk about, particularly for our allies out there, we start to talk about the times that white privilege has benefited you. Because there's several times that white privilege has gotten you through things that you may not, that you know for sure would not have gotten a Black person through. The only way that is acknowledged and talked about and eventually squashed is if it's acknowledged and talked about. All right. So back to Black-owned businesses. Y'all, I'm telling you, I'm sure there are Black-owned furniture companies. I will find them. I will send them to you. I do know that my friend Melissa from the Lip Bar, she is putting together a website called the Black Pact. Black Pact, like sign a pact. And it has a gamut of Black-owned products and services in every single category. And these are like, not like you're like, you know, because we all like nice stuff, right? So it's not like the hood sort of, you know, companies where you got to be sketchy, because that happens with non-Black companies too, let's be honest. But these are like high quality brands that you can know and you can trust. All right, there are purses and bags and hats and makeup and hair care and clothing and earrings and home decor and like all that kind of stuff. It's not live yet, Judy. It will be live on Monday. It'll be live on Monday. So Monday is the day that's going live. But this list is going to have so many Black-owned brands. And I know right now people are like so into supporting Black. But like I'm telling you, you have to patronize Black ongoingly. And me too. I'm holding my own self accountable. What am I doing? So I know that economic empowerment is one of the only ways that we squash this issue. And so we actually, me, myself, and my son, me, my son, and my partner. And if you guys know Mike, you guys know my partner is white, but he is extremely woke. And so all three of us moved our money to One United Bank. One United Bank is the largest Black-owned bank in America. And so we were so fed up. This is before everyone started talking about the whole, you know, buy Black all of a sudden this week. But last week when George Floyd thing first happened, the first thing that we did was we moved our money to One United Bank because we was like, we're done. This is ridiculous. And the only way that we make a difference is if we all collectively start to do that kind of thing. So One United Bank is our bank right now. And it's a Black-owned bank. And I'm really excited to, and they even have these, you know, your debit cards. It has a, my particular one, it has a African queen on it. I'm so excited about it. I can't wait to get it. All right. So let me give you some tips for how to cope with this situation that we're dealing with in America right now. Courtesy of Tim, and Tim is live with us. So Tim, say hey to everybody so they can shout you out. Judy, One United Bank is not in our area. They are in Florida. They are like locations. They're in Florida, they're in California, and like Chicago, maybe like one other place. But they have online banking. So I still have my normal bank, but my savings, which has the real money in it, that went over to One United Bank. So I put all of our savings money into there so it can sit there. It can it can benefit them much more than my checking account, because I have a checking account. I'm always moving money around, but the savings account, it sits there and it's good for that Black business, and obviously it's good for me too. One United Bank, Dorothy, United. Okay, all right, so let's get into it. Tim says that there are some self-care. Oh, Michigan first. I did not know that. So if you are in Michigan, the Naturalicious customer service team, Rika, is telling us that Michigan First is a Black-owned bank. I did not know that. Thank you so much, Rika. Okay, so self-care must. The first thing that you have to do is rest. Y'all, I'm so tired. I'm so exhausted, and I know all of you are as well. You have to get your rest. When it comes to your hair specifically, I don't know if you all know this, but lack of adequate rest has a direct effect on your hair. If you do not get enough sleep, your body goes into stress mode. And I think you know that, right? Your body goes into stress mode, and you're already in stress mode because of everything that's happening. So your body goes into stress mode, and then your hair, you start to find that your hair is becoming more brittle. It may start to fall out, either in clumps or either little by little. But your hair is directly impacted by the amount of rest that you're getting. Of course, rest can be sleep, but then rest can also be hey, Stanisi, I see you, girl. Rest can also be just relaxing. I'm telling y'all, next week, Sunday is my birthday. I'm off all next week. And I never take breaks. Normally when I take a break or a vacation or a day off, I'm usually still working. Not next week. I was like, you know what? Your girl is exhausted from all that's going on. And I really need a decompression. And so I'm taking off all next week. Okay, so you may or may not be taking off all next week, but can you take a day? Can you get a mental health day? Even if you can't get a mental health day from work, can you get a day off on a weekend? Can you just not do anything? Another thing that Tim mentioned to us is that he talked about having days where you just unplug altogether. Are there days where you can just unplug? Hey, Corey. Are there days where you can just unplug? Like, put your phone on silent. Don't deal with it. None of that for a day. Just a day, once a week. I'm going to try it. I'm challenging myself to take a day a week with no phone interaction and see if that helps me to relax more. Physical activity is another one. Again, direct relation to your hair. So our bodies require physical activity in order to stay fit, obviously. But when it comes to our hair, the more blood we have flowing through our bodies, the more it's going all around our bodies and our veins and all that kind of stuff. And that also helps your blood stimulation in your hair, blood stimulation in your scalp to help your hair grow. So physical activity. Of course, physical activity doesn't have to be, something super strenuous or something that you hate. It can be, for me, my physical activity is dance. I love, love, love to dance, which brings me to my next point, which is fun. But I love, love, love to dance. So if I can get my physical activity in through dancing and I'm having my fun at the same time, I feel like I'm winning. Hey, Terry. So make sure that you are getting physical activity, even if it's just walking around outside. Or if you're really bad about it and you want to go super hard, you can do that as well. But some sort of physical activity, at least several times a week, will help you feel so much better. And what they always say is so true. Exercise or physical activity is the most underutilized antidepressant. It really is. It is the most underutilized antidepressant, but it's the most effective. When your heart is pumping and when you are getting physical activity, your depression levels tend to subside. I'm not saying they'll go away completely if you are truly depressed, but it does help a lot. I notice that when I'm not active for a period of time, my mood is, I'm a really optimistic person in general. I'm pretty upbeat. I'm pretty extroverted for the most part. But when I'm not getting my physical activity, my mood changes. My mood is not the same. I don't feel as good. And, but when I am physically active on a regular basis, my endorphins are up, everything's better. It'll be the same thing for you. So while we're dealing with all this stress in the world right now, one of the best things you can do for yourself is start to get more physical activity. And to my next point, try to make it fun. So if you can find something that you really love in light of all this craziness that's happening in the world, do that. Because again, I tell you guys all the time, self-care is not selfish. I am demanding you, this is my mandate to you, that you go and get yourself some fun in your life and some self-care. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Let's be honest, it's already hard being black. It's already hard being black in America. It's hard being black in the world, period. But it's definitely hard being black in America. And there's so much of a burden just on our shoulders all the time from, me personally having to talk to my 9-year-old about George Floyd and, him asking me, could that be me? And frankly, I had to say, yeah, it could be you, unfortunately. And seeing him cry and not understand what's going on and why it's so unfair. Having to have a conversation with him and tell him that, you know what, your white friend is not going to have the same conversation with their parent. They never will. And him saying, but it's not fair. And no, it's not fair. And that's a really heavy weight to carry and bear. And that's just my experience. I don't even know what your guys' experiences are. And I'm sure they're not too far from that if you're a parent, for sure. But again, just showing up to work every day and having to, just show up to work and have to be professional, show up on Zoom calls and have to maintain your composure in the midst of all this mess that's going on. You got to find a way to take care of yourself. You cannot pour from an empty cup, you guys. So you guys have to take care of yourselves. And one of the ways is to have fun and get some physical activity. Healthy relationships. Remove that toxicity from your life. Right now is not the time because everybody can catch the smoke, honestly. And, like I told you, I took my nephew to McDonald's and this lady, she came at me all twisted and she got something from me that normally people don't get. Cause I'm not here for the crap right now, and, it's important to remove, luckily I don't know this woman, so I can't, I don't have to remove her from my life. I just left the building. But, if you do have people in your life who are not productive, who are toxic, who are bringing you down, is there anyone that's near you that you have to, whenever the phone rings and you see their name, you get anxiety? Do you have that? I had someone like that that was in my life, and I had to remove it. And I can't fully remove that person for various reasons, but I do limit our interactions. I make sure that those interactions are on my terms, and I've built boundaries for that relationship, because otherwise, again, I can't pour from an empty cup. I am fully responsible for my own happiness. There are enough forces out here in the world that are going to try and bring me down. I can't allow other people to do that to me. So you are fully responsible for your happiness, and you're fully responsible for your joy in your life. So if you're allowing people into your life that are toxic and preventative to that mission, then you've got to remove them. Okay, so healthy relationships are so key. A lot of you guys know my story about how when I started Naturalicious, I had just left my abusive husband. And although I had $32 in the bank and I was a single mother, I knew that toxicity was not something that I was here for. That was not going to be my story. That was not going to be my life. So it didn't matter what outside forces were maybe financially preventing me from being, logically staying in a relationship that was unhealthy for me. But he had to go because he was blocking all the blessings that would have been coming my way. No matter what area we're talking about those blessings being, whether they're being financial, whether they are wellness wise. Wellness is so important. And I love what Tim just said. He said, cut off people with conviction. Like, you can't be like wishy-washy with it. You can't be like, okay, I'm done with you, and then they come talking sweet nothings or saying what you want to hear, and then you come back and you back and forth like that. You got to cut them off. I love cut them off with conviction. And Erica said her cut-off game is strong. And you know what? From what I know about Erica, I fully believe that. I fully believe her cutoff game is strong. She said she would cut her off her friends, family, or anything in between. Her peace is priceless. And that is so true. All of you should feel the exact same way. It's harder when you have family members who are close to you. Sometimes we feel an obligation to those family members. But listen, my mother used to always tell me when I was little, you stand alone. And when I was little, I didn't really understand what that meant. But what she meant by that was, you know, even if you're going through something with someone else at the same time, you are experiencing your feelings, your emotions, your consequences, your benefits all to yourself, right? So if someone is coming for you and they're toxic to your life, they make you feel anxious, they don't make you feel happy, they make you feel disappointed or sad or what have you, you've got to let them go. Erica said that's why she cut off her engagement. It was painful, but it was so necessary. And that's hard, right? Like, honestly, if I had been as brave as Erica, I would have never gotten married in the first place. Because I knew going into the wedding that it wasn't the right person. But I had already planned the wedding. I had already sent the invitations. I had already booked the hall, paid for the dress, all that kind of stuff. And at the time, I was a lot younger. And I thought to myself, well, I'm going to disappoint all these people who are coming to my wedding. And I don't want to look like a failure. But my peace should have been more priceless to me than that, right? But again, I was younger and I didn't really, know what was going on and didn't have as much, I had more F's to give. Let's say that at the time than I do now. Now I don't have any. But at the time I had more. And so I cared more about what other people thought. But you can't. You got to remove that toxicity from your life, period. Okay? Erica said she just told her daddy today that he is cut out of her life. If we haven't gotten it together and after 32 years, we're not going to. Wow. Good for you, Erica. For whatever reason that was. Good. I mean, good for you. Good for you for protecting your peace for whatever reasons that you have. Speaking of that, I actually have a friend whose father passed away recently. And her parents had not talked in years. And this person is like in her 50s. So she hadn't talked to them in like 30 some years. And hey, Cecilia. And he passed away and she was feeling really guilty because she didn't mend the relationship before he died. And I asked her, I was like, well, was there a reason that you exited that relationship? Was there a reason that you cut that relationship off with your parents? And she said yes. And she told me why. And I said, you cannot beat yourself up for decisions that you made that were best for you at the time. You made that decision purposely, right? So you made that decision for a reason. Whatever they did, that's on them. Only thing you can control is what you do. So I tell my son all the time, you can't control what other people say. You can't control what other people do. You can only control what you allow into your life and how you react to those things. And if you cut someone off who was toxic to you and that was what was best for you, that's what you had to do for yourself. So as hard as it is to cut off family members sometimes we just got to do what you got to do. So kudos to you, Erica, for having the bravery to be able to do that. All right, the next thing that Tim talks about is unplugging and disconnecting, which we already discussed. The next thing is self-reflection. So I used to be a really big meditator. Is that a word? I used to be really big into meditation. And Tim actually helped me with that when he was living here in Michigan. As time has gone on, I've gotten really, really busy. I obviously have the Naturalicious business. My son is now out of school because of COVID-19. So I have 2 full-time jobs. So I'm a mother full-time, and then I'm also a teacher. And then because of having to teach him, and then separately from that, I'm also running Naturalicious, which is harder now because we're not physically at the office all the time. So it's more challenging to try and run a company from a distance than it is to physically be there. And so I have found myself not doing the meditation that I used to do. And I used to wake up every morning before everyone got up and I would do my meditation, and it would help me center myself and feel really great. Now, I know a lot of times when we talk about meditation, people think, you're supposed to close your eyes and kind of go like this, and, or this or whatever. And, you don't have to do any of that. Yeah, 3 full-time jobs, Judy. You don't have to do any of that. It's literally just about sitting and being still. There are guided meditations. There are meditations where you only are listening to music. There are meditations where you're just sitting, doing nothing, not listening to anything. You're just still and you're quiet. But it really, truly does help center yourself. Those of us who were on the call with Tim on Tuesday for the Inner Circle, Everyone who was on there said they felt such a weight lifted off of them after that meditation. Some of them hadn't. I know Andrea was one of them, and I think she's on tonight. She hadn't meditated in a really long time either, but she used to. And she's like, I forgot how I used to love meditating. So for me, I'm a very anxious person. My mind is always racing. It's very, very hard for me to just shut my thoughts off. So hard. But meditation forces me to. It forces me to slow down. It also forces me to decide what the most important things are, because it's very easy to start doing a ton of other stuff that isn't in full alignment with what I'm supposed to be doing. Erica said, there's a Black-owned meditation app that I have that focuses on Black issues. What's the name of the app, Erica? Tell us. I want to know. Tim says, so much about meditation is highly misunderstood. People think meditation is about achieving something. Really, it's about reconnection and introspection. Love that. And I don't think enough of us as a Black community, I don't think we do it enough. I think a lot of times we think it's like real woo-woo, or that it's like for crazy people, or that it's, for a different type of person, or you have to be vegan or something to meditate, and obviously none of that is true. But it really does help me center myself. The thing though is you have to be deliberate about it. I always kept telling myself, I'm just going to get back into meditation. I'm just going to get back into it. And then I never got back into it. You have to be deliberate. You have to create the time. It's just like people talk about working out. Like they say they don't have the time, but they could make the time. It's the same thing with meditation. It's literally exercise of your mind. So you have to take the time and make the time. I know on YouTube, for me specifically, it's hard for me to meditate for a long period of time. So usually I do like 10 minutes, 15 minutes tops, because otherwise I'm just like, oh my gosh, I can't sit still. I need to be doing something. So on YouTube, there is, you can type in 10-minute meditation music, 15-minute guided meditation, however long you want to meditate, and they'll give you the music or whatever it is or the guide for that period of time. Also, I know Tim, if you want to reach out to him, he has some meditations as well that he can share with you if you'd like to get them from him. But just try to find a way to just stay still in your stillness with everything that's going on. Nika says, I wake up and lay there before I move in the morning. Let my mind, body, and soul wake up. Then I make my way through the day. See, my problem is, Nika, that the first thing I do, and I think a lot of people do this, first thing I do when I wake up is I roll over and I look at my phone. And I look and see what my Facebook said, what happened on Facebook overnight, what happened on Instagram. I look at the Naturalicious admin page to see what's going on over there. And I also look at some other stuff. And they say that you should actually not even deal with technology at all, because it's like breakfast, it's like fuels your day. So if you eat crap for breakfast, you're going to feel kind of sluggish throughout the day. And so if you're feeding your brain all this technology and this like bright light and this like busyness first thing in the morning, you're going to be busy and anxious all day long. And so I have to do a better job of not doing that, which is really hard for me, because again, my mind is always moving, and I'm literally like, if I'm sitting still, I'm always thinking about, oh, what could I be doing? A lot of times I'm thinking about y'all. I'm like, what can I do to serve the Naturalicious Claymates better or more? And those of you who are in RHR Pro, you guys got an email not too long ago because of one of those anxious thought processes that was going through my mind about how can I serve people better, and so that's hard for me to like disconnect like that. But it has to be a practice. It has to be a deliberate, intentional practice. And so I'm working on it too. I do not have all the answers. I'm a work in progress, just like the rest of y'all. But that's something that I am working on as well. Okay, so the next thing that Tim has on here is asking for help. If you need help, a closed mouth don't get fed, boo. Open your mouth and ask. Ask someone. And honestly, I'm going to tell you, seek therapy. Like, seriously. It is not, I know in our community, sometimes I think it's getting better, but there's still a stigma of if you are going through therapy or anything like that, that you are crazy, or that there's something wrong with you, or what have you. And really, it should be something that's proactive as opposed to reactive. If it has to be reactive, great. But ideally, be proactive. There's a lot going on in the world right now. It's a lot to cope with. There's a lot to deal with. Having someone who has an unbiased third-party ear to lend to you can be so vital and so crucial. Honestly, I have my son in therapy. Not because he's done anything bad or because he Yeah, it's taboo, but not because he has any problems, but there's a lot happening. He is he's a little black boy in a world that is not going to be kind to him as he grows up. He goes to a school where he is the minority, and there are some microaggressions that he doesn't realize are microaggressions because he's 9 and he doesn't see them and know what they are. But as a grown-up, I know what they are, and I see them for what they are, and I call them out. But he has a therapist, and I'm not ashamed to say it. And it's interesting. I'm so glad that at his age, he's not ashamed of it either. He actually will tell his friends, I got to go to my therapy appointment. I'll talk to you later, And he has a therapist who he talks to, who's specifically a child therapist, and they just talk. And he talks about his feelings and emotions and things that he, may not necessarily talk to me about, but he can talk to her about. And he may talk to me about them, but he may talk to her in a different way. And so she and I can work together to make sure that he is growing up to be healthy and emotionally intelligent and all those things that we all want our children to be. So Blanche says, crazy is when you know you need help but won't ask. That is so accurate. Erica says, treat mental health the way you treat any other health. I agree. I 100% agree. Okay, the next thing he talked about, we already talked about meditation. He talked about journaling. And this is something I used to do, but again, for me, this is something I have to get into. I have to really force myself to do. But when I'm telling you, all these things work because I've done them all. I'm not always consistent with it though. And so it's easy to say, do all these things, but then it can be really overwhelming. So maybe take 1 or 2 of them that you can start, because you build a habit in about 15, 20 days. So start 1 or 2 of them. What can you do that's easy for you to do right now? Journaling is something that I could probably do. I love to journal. It helps me get out my feelings. It helps me see on paper how, like, the emotions that I'm experiencing, whether those emotions are happy, sad, disappointed, anxious, loving, compassionate, jealous, whatever. It helps me get those out on paper. And then for me, at least, I find that my inner peace is better when I'm actually writing stuff down, because I'm writing it down. I'm like getting it out. It's like an outlet for me to get it out, and I'm not typing it. I'm literally writing it with my hand. And so I feel like I'm almost like passing those issues that I might be experiencing, I'm passing them through to the paper, and the paper has them now. I don't have them anymore. And so that's kind of how I feel when I'm journaling. So that is something that he actually has on here. And so, these are just some tips that you can try to do while you're experiencing what's going on in the world. He also has on here grounding, putting your bare feet into the earth for at least 30 seconds. So literally like going outside, putting your feet into the grass, just being one with the earth, that sort of stuff. Actually, I'm trying to find, if anyone knows this in Michigan, please let me know. But I'm trying to find like a cabin or like a lake house or something to go to next weekend, because I just really need to be around nature. I really need to be by some water, on a porch with some trees around me. Please let me know if you know anything like that in Michigan, where I can still socially distance, because I need that right now. And him saying, getting literally putting your feet to the ground is something that's really great for our bodies. Blanche says she journals on a regular basis. That's awesome. Yes, Andrea. Transference to the paper. Yes, that's literally what I feel like. I'm just transferring that stuff to the paper. Tamara says, I use the Daybook app. I gotta look at the Daybook app. I gotta see what that's about. I thought I saw some. Okay, Stanisi says, what do you think about unconscious bias? I believe that people know most of the time when they're doing something wrong. They just choose to still do it without total consideration of the consequences. I agree. I think that people do know. I think that people choose ignorance sometimes, right? Like some people are just ignorant to certain things. And that's very conscious, right? Like let me rephrase that. Some things are very conscious. Some people do things and say microaggressions that they don't know are conscious. Let me give you an example. When Trump was being elected or running the first time, someone that I know came into my DMs, because I was very vocal about how I felt about it, on my Facebook page. She came into my DMs, and white woman, and decided to convince me that she wasn't racist, which I didn't ask for the convincing. I really didn't care. But she thought that I think she needed to feel better about herself by convincing me that she wasn't racist. I never called her racist. She wasn't even on my radar, honestly. She comes into my DMs, and she, in the process of trying to convince me that she wasn't racist, she says, well, Trump's trying to make it better for colored people. Colored people? What is this, like 1955? So, and I called her out on it, right? I said, that in itself is racist. You are 40-some years old. You know that colored people is an offensive term. So let's not, she's like, oh, I didn't know that it was offensive. I'm like, you literally said colored people to a black person. It's not like you were talking to your friends. You were talking to me. She's like, I didn't know. And I'm like, don't play me. Like, you knew that it was offensive, and, you know, like, get out of my DMs. Like, please, just get out. Yeah, colored. Like, really? Ma'am. And so she's like in her 40s, so clearly she knows that this is not okay, you know? You're not, I may have given her a little bit of a pass if she was like 80, you know, and she had lived through that time. She's kind of, whatever. But she wasn't. She was like, she's in her 40s. Like, you know better, okay? So that, to me, was conscious bias, because she talks to, I'm sure she talks to her friends, who are probably white also, and says colored, and probably says the N-word, I'm sure, to them. To me, that's conscious bias. Like, you know what you're doing. You just want to, I feel like sometimes people just say stuff to see what they're going to be able to get away with. And yeah. But then there's unconscious bias, where I think sometimes it does happen, but through microaggressions, right? So, for example, when I go somewhere, or any of you, I'm sure you've heard this before, and they say, oh, you speak so well, as if they're like surprised. That I think that can be a bit of unconscious bias. You know, I think that might be kind of unconscious. I'm not sure. It's like in their mind, they're like surprised that we don't sound ghetto, in air quotes, but then they say it out loud and it comes across a different way. Or another unconscious bias I think sometimes people have is that it's a hair thing. Like, they always want to touch our hair. You know, my neighbor across the street, she's cool. Like, I love her. She's great. She's Asian. And so my son used to go to her and take Chinese lessons for a period of time. And whenever his hair was longer at the time, and she would always talk about how curly his hair was, and she would find ways to like touch his hair. So she would like pat him on the head like he was like like a dog or something, you know. And I'd be like, you can't do that. Like, stop doing that to him. He's not a pet. You know, she's like, oh, but that's what we do in Asia. You know, we pat kids on the head. I'm like, you just want to touch his hair. Let's be real, okay? Because I don't see you doing that to your son. So let's be honest. You just want to feel his hair, and you're trying to find a way to feel his hair. That kind of thing, I think, can be either conscious or unconscious. I'm not really sure, you know? But either way, it's not okay. And you have to call this kind of stuff out. And so I think that we all have a feeling about, especially if we know the person, if they're being, if they're truly being racist and they truly mean to say something and do something that's really, really racist, versus if they're doing something that is more covert versus overt, you know? Yeah, I know we're not in Asia, Erica, exactly. And the thing is, like, she's been in America for like 30 years. So it's not like she just got over here, you know? But anyway, yeah, I just think at the end of the day, we have to call out things that are microaggressions, because they happen. And also, my son goes to a predominantly white school. He's had things happen to him. One of his little friends, and I'm using friends in quotes, told him that his skin was burnt. And so he asked me about it, and he was like, I was like, how do you feel about that? And he was like, I don't know, it just seemed weird. Like, my skin's not burnt. What's he talking about? He's 9, right? He doesn't get that. And I'm pretty sure the kid, who's also 9 or 8 at the time, I'm pretty sure that the kid may not even know what they were talking about. But you know what? They heard that from somebody. Somebody that's an adult, they heard that from. And so I immediately called the parents and told her, because I have her number. I called her up and told her what her son did. And I was like, you know what? I don't know what you all talk about over there, but my son is not here to be made to feel less than anybody. He is not here to be made to feel like his skin tone or his color is not beautiful, and that's not going to fly. So I need you to address this with your son and not let it happen again. Period. She's like, oh my goodness, of course. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I don't know where he could have gotten that from. He heard it from somebody. He didn't make it up on his own. I'm pretty sure. Like, I'm sure he's seen burnt toast. I'm pretty sure he knows that burnt toast doesn't look like my son's skin. So he heard it from somewhere. Okay. There's another time when he was in kindergarten. He was playing with a little boy, and the little boy said they were like debating about who had won some game they were playing. And the little boy told him, well, you're lying because all brown people lie. Sorry. And then my son, of course, comes home and he says, Mommy, do all brown people lie? And I'm like, where'd you get that from? And he's like, well, Carter said it. And I'm like, okay, gonna address that. But no, all brown people don't lie. Some do, but so do some white people. So do some Asian people. So do some Indian people. Everybody lies. Somebody in everybody's culture lies, right? And it has nothing to do with you being brown. And so I addressed it with the school. They told me that they were going to have a discussion with the parent. And I said, okay, and I left it alone. So then there was an event later on, and I saw the mom of the little boy. And she came up to me like, hey, how are you? And I was like, hey, so did the principal talk to you about anything with Caden and him? She's like, no. So now I'm irritated because I trusted the school to address this issue of racial problem, and they failed to do that, even though they told me they were going to. So I talked to her. I was like, well, he came and told Caden that all brown people lie. And I talked to their teacher and I talked to the principal, and they said that they were going to talk to you. And I don't know where that came from, but it's not true. And you and I both know it's true. So I need you to address that with your son and not let that happen to my son, because he does not come to school to be made to feel like his skin is indicative of criminal activity or, that he's, less than anybody else because of the color of his skin. And so she said, oh my goodness, I cannot believe that he said that, my son? He must have gotten it from his dad, because we're divorced and I don't talk like that in my house. It must have been his dad. I'm like, I don't know whose house it was. I don't know if it was yours or his or both y'all's or the grandparents. I could care less whose house it came from. All I know is that it's not going to happen anymore with my child, and really any child here in the school. It's not going to happen anymore. And so she's like, yes, I'll talk to him right away and blah, blah, blah. But these things are ingrained, and there's a meme that's ingrained in children from a young age, and you have to call it out. You cannot let stuff ride. There's a meme that's going around right now that says, what are you doing to ensure that your child doesn't grow up to kill mine? And I thought that was so powerful and such a poignant statement that we have to think about every day, and our allies have to think about every day, and make sure that their actions and their words and their teachings align with what they're actually saying that they should do, right? Because it's great. I said this in a media interview today. It's great to post a black square on Instagram. It's great to say how you stand with us, but what are you really doing? Are you changing your behavior? Because your black square on Instagram isn't saving anybody's life. And I appreciate the sentiment. I do. I appreciate it, but I need your actions to change as well. Not just because it's trendy right now to buy black, and it's trendy right now to be down with the struggle, but no one's been down with the struggle before. So I'm excited that people are very getting more woke. I'm excited that I've seen a whole thread on someone posting about the Black Panthers and how they have been society has pretty much lied to people about the Black Panthers. And as when people of color and African Americans, we already knew that, you know, they were not quote unquote cop killers. That wasn't what they stood for. But white America has been taught that, and they have hated the Black Panthers all this time, not realizing that they were actually there to police the police, to keep them from killing us. And I saw a whole thread about a white woman who had learned and done her research and decided to take it upon herself to truly educate herself about Black history. I think it's great. I think it's fantastic. But what happens once this moment ends? Because it will end eventually. It's not going to last forever. And what's going to happen once that happens? What are you teaching your kids to make sure that they don't kill my child or your child or your neighbor's child when they grow up? You know, are we having these kinds of conversations at home, like all brown people lie? Are we ingraining that kind of thinking into their heads? Are we telling them that, you know, Black people's skin is burnt? Are those the kinds of conversations we're having? Because posting your Black square on Instagram doesn't help if you're still having that kind of talk at your home. So you have to match your actions with your words and not just your trendy Black square. And so that's all I have to say about that. So I hope some of these tips have been helpful for you guys. I really want you to pick one thing you can do. What's the one thing you can do? Me personally, the one thing I can do is getting more rest. I don't get enough rest. I go to bed at like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm up at like 6 o'clock. So I'm like, you know, 4 to 5 hours of sleep a night. It's a wonder I don't have dark circles and bags under my eyes. I don't know. Jesus is good and God is good and they just bless me with not having it, but I don't get enough sleep. So that's the one thing that I'm going to start doing. I'm going to start going to bed at a normal time and getting up at my same time so that I can get more rest. And then the next thing I'm going to start doing is actually putting more, I'm going to start journaling again and meditating. So those are 2 things I can do at the same time. I can meditate and journal. I can meditate first, then journal in the morning. And also gratitude. Today I woke up and I wrote down 3 things that I was grateful for. And I always think we should operate with an attitude of gratitude, even when things are not so hot. Even when things are going bad, there's always something for you to be grateful for, right? If at the very least it's that you woke up today. Because guess what? A whole lot of people didn't wake up today. So at the very bare minimum, you woke up today to see another day. So that itself is a blessing, and that's something to be grateful for. But if there's something else, did you drive today and somebody was tripping while you were driving and you didn't give them the finger? That's a win, right? Like you reeled it in for a moment. That's a win. Or is it something as big as, you finally did your first wash and go that was successful? It may seem simple, but if it's a win for you, it's a win. Is it something really, really big? Like you got a promotion, or, you closed a big deal, or you bought a new house or sold a house or whatever. It could be as small or as big as you want it to be. But be grateful for something every day and acknowledge that gratefulness and talk about it. Like write it down so you can see it on paper. Like, these are the things that I'm grateful for. So those are the things that I'm going to start doing. Sleeping, journaling, meditating. those are my marching orders. What are your marching orders that you're going to take with you to help you make sure that you're maintaining optimal self-care in the wake of everything that's happening right now? So think about those and put it to practice. Don't just talk about it, be about it. All right. And so next week we will not have Real Hair Revelations because it is my birthday week and I'm off. I'm taking off. Don't call me, nobody, because I won't have my phone. I'm going to do what Tim says and unplug for next week. But the following week, we will be back with Real Hair Revelations. And don't forget, my birthday party is Sunday. So I hope to see you all at my party. It's going to be so much fun. If you are signed up for if you have RSVP'd, you will receive the link through text and through your email the day of the party. So the party starts at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday. So y'all should be all done with y'all virtual churches by then. You should be prepared and ready to party, okay? And if you are live with me, you will get first dibs on the new Repair Your Hair Challenge, which starts July 15th, but sales for it start July 9th. So we sold out in 4 days last time. Pretty sure we'll do the same this time. Well, maybe not 4 days because we have more people that we're allowing in this time, but we're going to sell out like we always do. And I want you all to be able to not get left out, because a bunch of y'all got left out last time, and I tried to tell you, don't delay, because it's not going to be enough space. And then some of y'all didn't listen, and then y'all was DMing me like, oh, can I get in? And I was like, all the seats are full. I don't have no more space. So if you missed it last time and you really want to get in, make sure you get in. All right? And with that, I will bid you adieu. Have a beautiful evening. Thank you so much. Who said that? Oh my goodness. Lisa, that's so sweet. Lisa said, happy birthday, Gwen. So glad you were born. Oh my gosh. Me too, girl. I'm so glad I was born too. But thank you. I appreciate the love. I appreciate the love. You are welcome, Anna. Always love taking time out to talk to you guys. All right, I am going to head out. Have a great evening. I will see y'all on Sunday for the shindig. And we are going to let loose. Bring your dancing shoes. Bring your drink, whether it's alcoholic, water, Sprite, whatever you got to bring. Just bring it. All right, or just bring yourself, whatever you want to do. And make sure you dress up a little bit so you can feel good. All right, we want you to feel good and look good. All right, have a great night. Love you all. Talk to you later. Bye. Bye, Nika.